See, all the ETF haters thought that the ETFs were going to slow down in their purchasing of Bitcoin. Well, contrary to stupid belief systems, on the 24th of February, which was yesterday, the ETFs have now acquired 732,756 Bitcoin, which means they have 113,756 Bitcoin more net than the day that the ETFs got approved and started trading on the 11th of January. It's currently the 25th of February, which means that we've had 30 trading sessions, and that means that they've acquired net, no matter what's happened to GBTC. And by the way, again, I'll say it again, I don't believe in this new 9 concept. I believe in looking at the whole market as a whole. They've acquired 3,791 Bitcoin every single day like clockwork, no matter what's happened to the price. And bear in mind, there's only 900 Bitcoin a day actually being mined, right? And then within something like 55 days, 54 days, that's going to go down to 450 Bitcoin being mined, right? And remember, there's 216 trading sessions remaining. So if they just keep the pace that they're going and the price of Bitcoin doesn't move, they've got to acquire 818,856 Bitcoin by the end of 2024. By the end of 2024, they've got to acquire almost 1 million Bitcoin based on the pace they're going. And of course, it's not possible. That's like 50% of the current supply on exchanges that they would have to acquire in order to make in order to keep this trend going. Now, of course, the amount of Bitcoin per day over time is going to go down because the price is going to go up, right? The price is going to go up. So again, this is one of the things that I think is quite important to realize and recognize and understand and respect, is that this demand is not slowing up here, right? 3,791 Bitcoin a day, despite the GBTC bleeding, despite all of that going on, is quite remarkable. It's quite remarkable. Already we know that this is the single most successful ETF product launches in history. Every single firm that's launched a Bitcoin ETF has had the single most highest performing, best performing product that they've ever launched. This is a very, very unique experience that we're all living through, and you've got to appreciate what's actually going on here, because I don't think most people do. I think most people are sitting there going, oh, these ETFs, yeah, they're cool, but they don't really do anything. Yeah, you self-custody and this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, this has changed the game now. I don't care what type of $10 a month DCA gang you were a part of, you were not acquiring 3,791 Bitcoin every single day for the last 30 trading sessions. You weren't doing that, right? Whereas now the real money is here. And as I've been saying for months, this real money is here, and that Bitcoin won't see the light of day again, right? I believe we've entered a perpetual Bitcoin cycle at this point where everyone was talking about, God candles and Omega candles and et cetera, et cetera. And I don't think that's what happens here anymore. I think that you see a gradual, never really stopping candle. You definitely see a little bit of, ups and downs and corrections and consolidations. But really, this level of consistent demand has never ever been seen by Bitcoin before. And I don't think ever will be seen again. I think we're entering a period where we go through a saturation phase here, and a lot of capital is going to find its way into here, right? And of course, BlackRock has $10 trillion of capital. Fidelity has $4.5 trillion of capital. In order to get 1% allocations, BlackRock needs to buy $100 billion of Bitcoin. Right now, they've got 6 or 7 billion. That's just put that into perspective. 0.06%, right, of their allocation that they need to make if they want a 1% allocation. So this buying there doesn't seem to be any vision for slowdown with this buying. And if you're sitting there going, okay, do I take this seriously? Do I have to take time to learn about this, et cetera, et cetera? The answer is yes. Stop being a moron, right? Once BlackRock applied, you knew what was going to happen, right? If you were smart, how am I not going to trust the man who managed to sell ESG to portfolios to the tune of $30 to $50 trillion of capital inside of ESG within the space of what was that, like a decade, right? What are we talking about? He basically wrote a letter. I'm talking about Larry Fink. He wrote a letter to all of their portfolio companies, which is basically everyone, and said, if you are not adhering to ESG principles, getting capital from BlackRock is going to be very, very difficult, right? Now, in financial terms, that's basically saying, hey, if you don't do this, you're getting capped in the head, right? It's just as simple as that. So, and now we've got MicroStrategy approaching the S&P 500. We'll see whether they manage to do that or not. So there's a lot of capital that's lining itself up, and of course, BlackRock is an investor in MicroStrategy. Like, there's a lot of alignment that's happening here around Bitcoin, and of course, Larry Fink gets to stand up, and he's a hero, right? They've launched a brand new product in an industry that everyone doubted. They've got the number one performing product that they've ever put out in history, right? And now all of this capital is coming in. It's also going to be, at the end of the year, the best performing product. What happens at the end of the year when they update their prospectuses, right? And they show that the number one product that they have under management at BlackRock is a Bitcoin product. What happens in that scenario? So much here is lining up for Bitcoin, and you're just sitting there going, oh, maybe I need to look at that. Maybe I need to look at it. Just lazy. After a while, you just get to the point where people are like, anyone who misses this opportunity for Bitcoin just didn't have their eyes open. That's the point at which it's getting to now. And I want you to open your eyes. I want you to understand what the fuck is going on here. And I want you to get on board with doing your homework, doing your work, and start figuring out how you're going to get an allocation to the fastest growing asset humanity has ever seen, because it's about the finality of scarcity, and the scarcity is absolutely there. The fact that these ETFs are buying up 3,791 Bitcoin per trading session means that there's 3,791 exact Bitcoin less for everyone else to buy. It's not like real estate where you can just go a little bit outskirts and start building some more property. It doesn't work like that. This is 3,791 Bitcoin that you will never ever see again. So you need to start taking this seriously. That is the update for the ETFs. 732,756 Bitcoin inside of all of the ETFs at this point. 113,756 that have been acquired in the last 30 trading sessions, right? That's 3,791 a day. There's 216 trading sessions remaining for the rest of this year. And the question is, are you going to buy the Bitcoin, or is BlackRock going to buy the Bitcoin? Because someone's buying the Bitcoin. It's up to you whether you want to be a part of that game or not. At the end of the day, if they're on pace right now and the price doesn't move, they're going to have to buy 818,856 Bitcoin. And the question is, that's 818,856 people that will never, ever be able to get to one whole Bitcoin, which is what my goal is here, to get people to one Bitcoin and get people to stop fucking around and missing this, thinking that you're okay because you're just investing in real estate and you got a little bit of cash flow coming in. What happens when they start forcing these hedge funds to dump their real estate onto the market because they perceive that they're controlling the game a little bit too much? What happens when that happens? What happens to your single family home portfolio when you got absolutely zero growth and inflation kicking you in the nuts every single day? What happens then? That's why you need Bitcoin. And I'm not saying you need like 100% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying utilize and leverage the assets around you to get a piece of the fastest growing asset humanity has ever seen. Start with 1%. I think it needs to be higher than 1%, but start with 1%. And then go from there. At the end of the day, the most important thing is you need to start your fucking homework, because there's too many people here that are just arrogant, thinking that, oh, because BlackRock's in there, because all these people are in there, maybe I'll ever look at it in a few years. You're just arrogant. You're going to cost yourself the future that you've worked hard to build. If you're in real estate, you're in equities or whatever else, you're going to be outgrown by Bitcoin in terms of returns here. So it's time to start taking this seriously if you have not. I know it's a Sunday. I know you're probably busy with your family, but you've got to start taking the time to start studying Bitcoin and start studying what the hell is going on here, because there is no reality where an asset like this should grow, should basically explode onto the TradFi scene, and suddenly they're buying 3,791 Bitcoin a day. Doesn't that intrigue you as to why the fuck an asset manager that has been saying that Bitcoin has been used for illegal activities, it's terrible for the world, blah, 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 is suddenly buying 3,791 Bitcoin a day? If that doesn't intrigue you, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, and I don't know what we're doing, right? At the end of the day, there's too many people that are just focused on what's comfortable to them, and right now, the way that these ETFs are gobbling up this Bitcoin, now is the time for you to start paying attention, otherwise you're going to be left behind, because ultimately, there's always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, shut the fuck up. And And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.